I'm not that tall, so I have to adjust the mic. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 8th annual Bhavsar Samaj event. And this is my very first time here, and I'm extremely proud. I'm so fascinated that 1,000 people from all across the country came here. A big round of applause to all of you for making that effort. Thank you. The topic for my today's presentation, I'm actually not going to use any PowerPoints, but the topic for my talk today is manifesting your life vision. And the reason why I chose this topic is because it was only last year, just last year, that I actually really realized what my life purpose is. And the reason why I'm standing here is so that I can share that with you, in the hope that I can invoke a process of introspection, especially among the younger audience here. Because when I was a young teenager, I didn't have anybody to go up to. And we have some great examples on the stage here, Yuvati, as well as Rupa. Before I begin my talk, I also want to humbly say that I'm still young, I'm still trying to learn, and I don't claim to know it all. But as I realized my life vision, and when I look back in the last decade, I realized that there was a process that I had to go through to realize what this vision was. And I'll share that with you here. There were 3 powerful questions that I asked myself. And there were. The number 1 question that I asked myself was, what am I capable of? The number 2 question I asked myself, who am I? What's my identity? Mera wajood kya hai? The number 3 question I asked myself was, what makes me happy? Had I not asked this question, or these questions, I would have not found answers. I'm not asking you to have the same journey as I've had, but if you were to ask these questions, I'm catering to the Yuva here. If you ask these questions, you'll probably find your inner answer. The questions are simple, the answers are different for everyone, and it's difficult. I'll share some personal stories here. When I was a young 16-year-old girl, and this was a time in India nobody worked or did summer jobs. I worked in my father's company, and I started as a sales girl. My dad was not easy on me. Started as a sales girl, moved to the cashier, worked at the cash register, was the floor in charge of this retail operation, went into consulting, then did marketing. Throughout that process, I never took a penny from my father or my mother. There was a deep fire inside me that I had to prove myself. And to be honest, I was the first woman in the entire Kakade family who was stepping outside the home front, trying to do something different. So in my college, I started BCom. While I was in college, I did my postgraduate diploma in sales and marketing. I was in the creative director board on the student council. I worked as an educational counselor. I worked with Reebok International as a fitness brand ambassador. That meant I taught about 1,000 classes a year in aerobics, kickboxing, body sculpting. Yes, I can kickbox. So 1,000 classes a year, that meant 3 classes every day. I was also part of the Reebok demo team. And as an ambassador, my job was to promote Reebok programs, not only in India, but also abroad. It was a great time in my life because I did so many things in those 3 years. And I also realized I have potential. I am capable, right? And my message to the youth here is, never shy away from a challenge. And always have this inner confidence in yourself that you can make anything happen. Truly, you can make anything happen if you keep your heart on it. Set your mind on it. After 3 years of my undergrad, it was time for me to pursue my master's. And this did not come on a silver platter to me. My parents were apprehensive. They were like, You're the first girl in the entire family. How do we let you be by yourself in an international country trying to support yourself and managing everything? And I have a beautiful story to share here. My father sitting here. It was this one, that day, you know, I had worked so hard those 3 years to show him and show myself that I was capable. And the time came, it was time for me to go. It was a hard decision for my parents. And then an aunt of mine spoke to my father. And she said, you have two choices. Either marry her or let her spread her wings and fly. She might get married right now at the tender age of 21. If she's miserable in a year or two, she's going to come back and blame you. Or you can let her fly and learn about life. My father and mother slept that night, and the next day, I remember this morning, he was sitting there reading his newspaper, and he just said, you can go. That's all he said. And it seems like a very filmy dialogue. In my head, it was like, ja beti ja, apni zindagi ji le. Very Bollywood. So the first question was, what am I capable of? I was still trying to figure that out. As I reached England, when I did my master's, the family business was going through a crisis situation. I could not ask him for money. And I had so much pride in myself. If my family was going through trouble, I'm not going to be an inconvenience to them. And my message also is, when you're about 20, and in your 20s, the mid-20s, it's not our time to take money from our family. It's our time to give back to them. And in our culture now, the trend that I see now, a lot of youngsters, उनको लगता है हमारे parents के पैसों पे हक है, right? But if you make your own money and you make it happen for yourself, there's a great sense of pride and there's a great sense of dignity. So over the next course of 2 years, I lived in England, I lived in Holland, and I worked my ass off. Excuse my language, but I really, really worked hard. Came back to India with enough money to buy my first car. And guess how I earned it? I taught fitness classes. I worked at a fitness center. That means I would work on the weekends. I would clean the fitness, the gym. A gym that was 10,000 square foot in space. Clean the equipment, clean the mirrors, clean the floors. And guess what? I cleaned the restrooms. The men's as well as women's. And when I was cleaning, especially the men's restroom, sorry, is more dirty than the women's restroom anywhere in the world. As I was cleaning the men's restroom, and I'm looking at myself from outside, I'm thinking, why am I doing this? I don't need to do this. मुझे करने की ज़रूरत क्या है? मैं क्यों कर रही हूँ ये? और तब मुझे महसूस हुआ that कोई काम ज़िंदगी में छोटा नहीं होता है. कोई भी काम करने से आप छोटे नहीं हो जाओगे. And thank you. And that taught me how to be humble. That meant I respected every individual in my life. Whether there was a cook who worked at my home, was it a driver, my colleague, nobody was less. I have profound respect for everybody. That was another lesson I learned. So I came back to India, I had enough money to buy my first car. I was so proud, right? Coming from a business family and being a child in that family, you have options to either take the shortcut or you have the option to take the long cut. I could have easily gone into my father's business and been a spoiled child maybe. But I decided to go a different route. And that's I see you going to the Shivananda ashram. You will have a life-transforming experience. People who've been there have their diseases cured. I have seen people who've had paralysis and they've come back walking straight. You must go there. And he has such conviction in his voice that I could not say no. I spoke to my father and my mother. I said, I have to go. And I think my parents were delighted. I wasn't asking them that I wanted to go to discotheque. She's going to an ashram, how bad can that be? Here I was with my bags on the train. I didn't know anyone. All the way from Delhi to Kerala, it takes 3 days. Reached the ashram, and there was a strict discipline that had to be followed at the ashram. That means you had to get up at 5:30 in the morning, you do satsang, you do meditation, you practice 2 hours of yoga, followed by selfless duty, then you understand yoga philosophy, read the scriptures, the Vedantas, the Bhagavad Gita, and in the evening you have 2 hours of yoga again, then dinner is served, and in the night again you have satsang and meditation, 9:30 nights off. You've got to go to bed. You have no connection with the outside world. You're eating very simple food. There is no makeup, no fancy clothes like I am wearing right now. And no access to telephone, no television, nothing. That 1 month was such a phenomenal period in my life because that was the time when I realized that to be happy, you don't need much. You really don't need much. All these material acquisitions is good to aspire for good things in life, but we should not get too attached to them. And to be truly happy, I also understood that whatever you do in your life, it should be beyond your own selfish interest. That means you have to have an altruistic purpose in life. At that time, I understood that much, but I did not know what my purpose was. The next 10 years, I spent working in corporate America in very different roles. Predominantly sales and business development. I had a huge quota over my head that I would have to meet every quarter. Every time if I didn't meet my quota, I could potentially lose my job. Then one day, we had layoffs. The US economy went into recession. I had just joined a new company as a major account director. And my VP called in and he said, "You are no longer welcome here." It was hard. It was really hard because the way they do it in America is very cold. In India, we have so much warmth. You know, even if somebody has worked with you, आप उसको ऐसे नहीं जाने को बोलते यार, right? There is some emotion, there's some compassion. But when I was laid off, there was no compassion. He just said, "You're not welcome. You don't have access to the computers. You don't have access to the keys of the office. You have to go." The next 2 years were the most challenging period of my life. I lost my job. I had 3 major car accidents. One of it has also led me physically challenged in my neck. I have a C5, C6 dislocation. And there were times that I couldn't even stand straight. I really could not stand straight. I had a neck brace. But at that time, I could either say, I'm a victim, right? ये मेरे साथ क्यों हुआ? मेरे साथ ऐसा नहीं होना था. मेरी गलती क्या है? Either I could ask those questions, or I could say, what do I need to change about myself? How can I change the situation? And adversity can be an opportunity. And if every time, if youngsters or everyone around here could look at adversity as an opportunity, as a lesson that you can learn, life would be so much easier. So at that particular moment, I said, I have to do some more soul searching because I knew what makes me happy. I know I'm capable. I have kind of created my identity, but I don't know what my life purpose is. What am I here for? Why was I born in this universe? And the next year or so, I spent a lot of time meditating, doing a lot of soul searching, doing a lot of introspection. And I kept thinking, what was the time of my life when I was truly happy, professionally happy, personally happy? And I kept coming back to the time when I was a fitness trainer. And when people came back and they said their blood pressure dropped, their cholesterol levels are low, they're feeling happier, they're feeling better about themselves. I felt that was very satisfying for me. I didn't make much money, but it was very satisfying for me. I need to do something there. So guess what? After one master's, and a postgrad diploma and a bachelor's in business, several business certificates, I went back to school again. I went back to school to study integrative medicine. And integrative medicine, the whole philosophy of integrative medicine is to bring conventional healing modalities like Ayurveda, Tibetan, yoga, in conjunction and integrate that with Western medicine. And it was a more holistic approach to life. That means wellness by mind, body, and spirit. So I went back to school to study all of this. I am now back in India. I just moved back 2 weeks ago. And I know what my vision is. My vision is to bring health and wellness services to India that foster preventive health. Because we are living in a society that's extremely stressful, extremely obese. There's chronic disease everywhere. You find young kids having blood pressure problems. I know that I have to do something there. So my vision is to bring those services to India. And now once I know my vision, everything else will become easy. Because the universe is a very interesting place. When you are positive, when you are optimistic, when you know what you want to do in your life, the universe will make it happen for you. You will meet the right kind of people at the right time. You will be at the right place. I just got to know 2 more minutes only. One last thing that I want to share. I was in Goa for the last 2 days, and I met some phenomenal people. And I met a Guruji here, her name is Akash, and I experienced something called spiritual dancing. And it was interesting, but the message they had within those dance movements was this. Having the ability to say, I wish, I can, and I will, right? So when you say, I wish, you can only wish if you know what you wish for. Once you know you wish for something, then you can say, I can do it. That means you have the confidence to do it. And to have the confidence, you have to go through the churning of life. You have to face difficult situations. And then you say, I will do it. When you say, I will do it, everything will happen. You are sending the right message. And right now, on the stage, we have Rupa here, who happens to also be in the wellness space. And what were the chances that she just came back from America, I came back from America, she has a similar vision like me, and I just meet her here. So, if you're clear in your mind what you want to do, you can do it. And I'm proud to be a Bhavsar Yuvati. And I'm proud to be a Bhavsar Yuva. And I hope the youngsters in the Bhavsar Samaj do great things if in the process I can be a part, and if I can help in any way, I will be very, very happy to do so. Thank you very much, and thank you so much for listening to me patiently. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. It's salute to you. Nowadays, when the parents